word of a killer. I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
So I said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh shit. Oh, I bet. Here we go.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
One, two, three, four.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. I'm back for another one, and I'm going to jump right on into it. Shout out to those of you that are already in the building. I see you, Roasted Toast. Good to see you. Shout out to everybody on Facebook, on YouTube, and as well as on X. I've been getting more viewers on X than anything else lately, and I'm very appreciative of it. If you have an opportunity, please check out my official podcast. I've been dropping season 2 on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. You can find my work for my official podcast at anchor.fm/LeakYou. And I essentially run all my RSS feeds for my podcasts from Anchor. So that's the place you want to go. And if you just have a website, you just want to listen through Anchor, go for it. Feel free to, I don't, at this time, the only, subscriptions I have is like with Spotify, Apple, that sort of a thing. But if you'd like to donate, you're welcome to do so at $LeakYou on the Cash App or PayPal /LeakYou. Now let's get right on into it, shall we? I am giving a shout out to UFO Mania, which is a platform that I have watched and monitored and been subscribed to for many, many years. And I will, this is a video that I've actually often thought about even after, I've watched it. I've watched it several times, but there's times when I may be sitting around doing whatever, and the thought of this video will come to my mind because it is so amazing. It's so amazing because it's like, and I go all the way down into, okay, if this was a sci-fi movie, blase, 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 what movie did this come from? And I haven't been able to identify that with this particular set of images that you're going to see tonight. Now, so yes, UFO Mania is the source where I'm pulling this, and shout out to them over there. I did put a link to the video in the description so you can check it out. Now imagine walking you're getting off work one night and you're walking to the parking lot because you're going to get in your car and go home. You're going to drive home. You're going to go home. And as you're walking, you come across a USB drive just laying in the parking lot. Now, some of us may see a USB hard drive and not think much of it. Others of us who know what a USB hard drive is when we see it, we're going to pick it up and we're going to want to read the contents to see what is in it. Now, this mysterious USB drive that made its way into a parking lot had a very strange symbol on it. And it's a bit unexplainable, but it almost was reminiscent of old, almost like something, like hieroglyphs from Egypt or something like that. But when this USB hard drive was read, some very amazing images popped up of what appears to be planetoid bodies. I believe one of the images shows Jupiter. I believe one of the images also shows Earth from a long shot view. Whether these were taken on a craft of some type. Now, here's the thing. We know that there are at least 3 long distance craft that is currently traversing not just our solar system, but multiple solar systems. It has been rumored that our United States Space Force has been to over 28 different solar systems in our universe. Shout out to Earth Files. Okay. Shout out to Linda Moulton Howe on that one. She's actually done some very definitive research on these craft. On these specific 3 craft, these craft that were named for, they were named the names of men that were part of Majestic 12. Majestic 12 was the original 12 people / bodies / men that were trying to wrangle the UFO alien situation when it all went down, especially back in the late 40s, 50s, 60s, right? They're the ones that did everything they could to keep the lid on the secret, the biggest secret that our United States government continues to withhold from us. Even recently, Arrow, the Pentagon's Arrow office released a stunningly failed report, an absolute epic fail, a report full of lies with claims that there was no evidence of UFO or extraterrestrial activity. And I think, guys, we better be very careful about how we use the word extraterrestrial versus interdimensional. It seems like if we use the word interdimensional, ears began to peak up. Because even David Grush testified in front of Congress and talked about how these beings are interdimensional. They're somehow coming in and out of our 3rd dimension, not necessarily coming from another planet, right? And a very famous exchange program that took place, if you want a little something to research, Project Serpo, right? Project Serpo was an exchange program that we had with what we call the Zeta Reticulans. They are a form of gray. They are a humanoid species, form of gray that was originally involved in the crash that happened in Roswell. Anyway, there was, through conversations and one of the beings that was stuck here, okay, who was trying to help repair communications on its crashed craft. Through that, eventually there was this exchange program that was struck up. And you can go out. There's audiobooks that have been written on this, books that have been written on this, although not as well known as I would think it should be. But we actually sent, I believe it was 10 or 12 people that trained for over 2 years. We exchanged 10 people, 10 human beings with some Zeta Reticulan beings. It was an exchange program, and these humans, not all of them came back. Okay. But the ones that did come back talked about, or information, let's just say information came out about how uh, their country, or that not they're not even their country, their planet, how their planet was so much different from ours, down to the food, down to the weird science experiments that they do, a lot of cloning going on. You all, we are not alone. It is just time to accept that if you have not accepted it already. We are not alone. So let's go ahead and take a look at this footage, okay, from UFO Mania. All right. And listen, we're just going to let it go here. Some of the images I did recognize from images, and it's towards the end of the chronovisor, right? There's a couple TikTok accounts and social media accounts that talk about the chronovisor and images, as the chronovisor is a device that you can have the ability to see and hear things that have happened in the past. But, that's a subject and a topic for a whole nother video. But this here, you have to wonder to yourself, like, how was this even filmed? We see craft, and not only just craft, these planetoid bodies, and even what appears to be UFOs that are just energy, light, as you can see there on the screen, that are flying to and from these various planetoid bodies, right? And in a couple of them, there are some recognizable images. Like, I could definitely recognize Jupiter in two of them. Well, these could be some of the moons of Jupiter. And some of the things that come to my mind are these images possibly that was taken on these long range craft, like the Hillenketter, right? The craft that's currently being operated by our U.S. Space Force. There's no telling how many light years it is away from us now. We've got craft that are shaped like cigars. We've got just light. We've even got craft that are shaped like the infamous A symbol. Various planetoid bodies circling each other. That looks like Jupiter to me. And just while we're sitting here watching this, have you ever heard about the ring makers of Saturn? What if those rings, those very famous rings that go around Saturn, are being built little by little for the past several, however many years, the millennia, be one big structure for all we know. It looks like in this image, someone's trying to zoom in on the North Pole. Now they're trying to zoom in on other areas. And we're even going to see here in a moment smoke rising from a couple of very strange looking surfaces that don't look earthly at all. But where did these images come from? Where did these little small video clips, which are just images put together, where did they come from? Look at all those craft just flying by. Look at that. And then again, now we're getting into more of the chronovisor images. And again, that's a video for another day. But you all, there are some craft or beings, whatever you want to call it, that have evolved, they say, to the point where the craft are even alive. They are a being in its own right. And it kind of brings me back to a story that I had heard that happened in the Soviet Union when a UFO flew over a Russian military base very low and caused, a little bit of a scene or whatnot. And someone thought they had the bright idea of launching a surface to air missile and struck this UFO and brought it down. And when that UFO was brought down, 5 beings emerged from this crashed UFO. And 23 men that were standing, all around when this happened, who were standing there, were turned into stone similar to limestone. And that all of their bodies, including the crashed UFO craft, was taken to a very top secret Russian location and has been studied ever since. And it's like it turned their actual living organism flesh into limestone. And those 5 beings, by the way, just prior to releasing these spherical balls that did all of this damage, it was 5 of them that merged into one, which then merged into a sphere. And then this sphere began to hit these men very fast, like explosions, right? And yes, they were turned to rock. Almost reminds me of a story many of us have heard, right? The Bible with Sodom and Gomorrah. But there's that weird smoke that seems to be billowing up, and then you've got multiple planets that seem to be circulating here in the distance, and maybe even one moon. That looks like Jupiter to me, with some of the moons around it. But it's very amazing footage. That surface looks nothing like Earth at all. Kind of almost gives me vibes of Mars a little bit. Look at that. And even now, we don't have anything like that flying up in space. That's what they tell us, right? That's what they say. But you would not see that watching a SpaceX stream or a NASA stream or whatnot. So, yeah, it's very interesting. Hey, Emmanuel, how are you? Thank you for following me on Spotify, Rose. Now, some of these planetoid bodies, I'm unable to even identify. And if you're able to identify, definitely drop it in the comments and let us know if you recognize any of that. Again, the only thing I can possibly think of when it comes to a lot of these images, especially with these planetoid bodies, circling in them, is it possible that they were taken by any of these long distance craft that we know are traversing not just our solar system, but over 28 thus far in our universe, our Milky Way, in our galaxy. And we don't know if they've been further than that. And there was a list leaked many years ago, in the mid-2000s, I believe, when NASA was hacked. It was a very simple hack, very simple network protocol hack that allowed a man to get on the network and to pull a list. And in this list, it had a list of all of the members of, I think it was three different craft, and the names of those who were non-terrestrial, meaning not human. Okay, and they do have human counterparts as well. But we know that these long distance craft that are traversing these variety of different solar systems and going out light years, we know that they are being manned by not only humans, meaning Earth humans, but humanoid beings of other types. And I've heard that the tall whites, that we work with them. in a lot of these types of endeavors, so to speak. There's no telling, to be honest. We don't have a real truthful anything. I mean, imagine we've got the Pentagon Arrows Office coming out and putting out, frankly, excuse my French, an absolute bullshit report, okay, that we know is stocked full of lies. But yet, you have how many craft out there and how many light years away from our planet? You mean to tell me that you figured out how to get from one planet to the next? So you're not traveling through space, you're like really traveling through space. You're bending space. So it doesn't take a lifetime to get there. It only takes a couple of days. Well, how does this work? How does these physics work? What is out, what is Alcubierre warp drive? What is that? What are these advanced physics? And then it makes you wonder, is there any truth to a lot of the stories that we've heard, especially regarding like the 20 and backs, people getting on trains, that portal to other planetary bodies? And if you go any deep into some of those stories, could name a few people, right? That have talked about their 20s and backs and how to them it was like a commute to and from work, and they were on a whole different planetary body. And some of those stories are quite incredible, I will tell you. But anyway, I wanted to show you all this and just bring this to you because I thought that this is very interesting. And I will let you think on it and draw from it whatever you will. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hey, Queen's Throne, good to see you. Hope you're feeling well. Shout out to those of you on I got to make sure I say X, Facebook, as well as Twitch. Let me make sure I drop a link in the live chat as well so that you do see this in the comments. I don't think it'll post to X comments, but I will post a comment underneath the video post so that you all have the ability to come check it out. Or you could just look up UFO Mania. They are, I think, on several different platforms, but always some really good stuff. Always some very interesting stuff that pops. So, anyway, the next story that I'm going to be working on, folks, okay, is what's going on with these mystery monoliths that are popping up all over the world. We had one pop up in Wales recently that is a perfect square, but not square, rectangle, perfect monolith, like 10 foot tall. But that's not the first one. We've had them pop up in Utah. We've had them pop up in several places all over the world. But here's the other interesting thing. It is said that these monoliths pop up right before a total eclipse happens. And we know that on April the 8th, especially down here in Tejas, where I'm located at, there's all kinds of talk about the total eclipse that's going to happen on that day. They're already selling glasses. People are already trying to rent out land. Oh, yeah. People get serious when it comes to solar eclipses. There's some really weird stuff that goes down during solar eclipses. So just note that. It's so strange that Oklahoma has called up the National Guard in preparation of that day. Okay. We've seen people commit mass suicides during total solar eclipses. So a lot of weird stuff happens when these events occur. And does that have anything to do with these mysterious metal UFO-like monoliths that just seem to just be popping up in the ground perfectly as if they haven't even been, there's not even been anything dug around it, not even a footprint. around these monoliths. Something that I'll definitely be talking about tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So definitely make sure you come through and check it out. Anyway, before I get up out of here, allow me to pay a few bills, if you don't mind, folks. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
All right, guys. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. We're going to go ahead and close it down. But man, I do want to give a shout out to the 25 of those of you out there on Twitter that are watching. I don't know how, I don't know what the heck has been going on up there, but it seems like every time I'm doing a show, I'm really pulling y'all. So, hey, keep doing what you're doing. Please share my content. I'm trying to get it out there and bring attention. I actually really try to do real content. And I think I do a pretty decent job at it. So I will see you all when I see you. Until next time, folks.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart, like really, really, really smart like I am.